So now let's study the structure of pores, that is stomata, present in epidermis. So epidermis consists of stomata in it. They are nothing but pores present in epidermis. Plural is stomata and singular is stoma. Stoma, singular. And these stomata are present in the epidermis of aerial parts of the plant. What are the aerial parts of the plant? They are stem and leaves. So in stem and leaves, these stomata are present. In root epidermis, these stomata are absent, right? So in the epidermis of young stems and in the epidermis of leaves, stomata are present, whereas in root epidermis, these stomata are absent, right? Okay, so now let's study the structure of these stomata in case of dicots and monocots. And basically, the stomatal apparatus consists of three things in it. Consists of guard cells. It consists of guard cells, subsidiary cells, and stomatal aperture. Subsidiary cells and stomatal aperture. So these three things together is representing stomatal apparatus. They are representing stomatal apparatus. Right? Okay, now let's study the structure of stoma in case of dicots and in case of monocots. Right. So in dicot stoma. Structure of dicot stoma. Structure of monocot stoma. Right. So, in stomatal apparatus, that is stoma, consists of two guard cells in it. Two guard cells. In dicot stoma, guard cells are bean shaped or they are kidney shaped. So these are bean shaped or kidney shaped guard cells. I am writing guard cells as GC, right? Okay. Now these guard cells are green in color. Green in color because they consist of chloroplasts in them. Whereas epidermal cells, all other epidermal cells and even subsidiary cells of stoma lack chloroplasts, and in these guard cells chloroplasts are present, and hence guard cells are also involved in performing photosynthesis, right? Okay, so guard cells consist of chloroplasts in them. Okay, and these guard cells, the cell walls of these guard cells are differentially thickened. Cell wall of guard cell is differentially thickened. Differentially thickened means towards outer side cell wall is thin, and towards inner side of this guard cell, that is towards stomatal aperture, stomatal pore, these cell walls are thick. So what can we say now? The cell wall of guard cell is differentially thickened. Differentially thickened, which is thick towards inner side and thin towards outer side. So it is thick towards inner side and thin towards outer side. Peripheral side, outer side, right. Okay, now these guard cells are surrounded by subsidiary cells. These are surrounded by subsidiary cells. Right? So these are the subsidiary cells. Okay. I am writing guard cell as GC, subsidiary cell as SC. Subsidiary cell. Right. These subsidiary cells are again non-green in color because they lack chloroplasts. Right? And at the center, it consists of stomatal pore. Stomatal pore or stomatal aperture. So now these guard cells Subsidiary cells and stomatal aperture together are representing stomatal apparatus or one stoma, right? So this is about the structure of stoma in case of dicot plants. In case of monocot plants. So in case of monocot plants, these guard cells are dumbbell shaped. Guard cells are dumbbell shaped. Right. And again, the thin wall, the cell wall is differentially thickened. So guard cells are dumbbell shaped or ellipsoidal. They are ellipsoidal in shape. Ellipsoidal in shape. Right? And again, the cell walls of these guard cells is differentially thickened. It is thickened at the center and it is thick at the center but thin towards periphery. So this is peripheral part of guard cells, right? And this is the center part of guard cells. The center part of the guard cells is thick. Peripheral part towards outer side is thin. So it is again differentially thickened, and these guard cells also consist of chloroplasts in them, and hence these are also involved in performing photosynthesis, and hence due to the presence of chloroplasts they are also green in color. So the only green colored cells present in the epidermis are guard cells due to the presence of chloroplasts, right? And the only cells which are involved in performing photosynthesis in epidermis are guard cells, right? And these guard cells are again surrounded by subsidiary cells. So these are subsidiary cells. Subsidiary cells. I am writing it as SC, subsidiary cell, and this is guard cell. Guard cell, and this is stomatal pore. So guard cells, subsidiary cells, and stomatal pore represents what? One stoma. Okay, so now what is the function of these guards? What is the function of these stomata? Function of these stomata is transpiration. Their function is transpiration and gaseous exchange. What is transpiration? Loss of water in the form of water vapor. That is called transpiration. So function of these stomata is transpiration and gaseous exchange. Gaseous exchange. Right? So this is about stomata present in dicots and monocots. I would like to give you one more point, one important point here in case of stoma, even in dicot and monocot stoma. Guard cells consist of radially oriented, not longitudinally, radially oriented microfibrils. Microfibrils which help in elasticity of these guard cells. So guard cells become turgid when they absorb water. Due to their turgidity, what happens? Stomatal pore gets opened. It results in opening of stomatal pore. When these guard cells lose water, they become flaccid. So for this elasticity, that is turgidity, bulging of guard cells, and due for flaccidity of the guard cells, these microfibrils which are oriented radially inside the guard cells also aids in turgidity, that is elasticity of guard cells. Elasticity of guard cells. So microfibrils are oriented radially inside the guard cells which help in opening and closing of stomatal pore. Here also radially oriented microfibrils are present like this, even in the guard cells of monocot stoma. Right? So this is all about stoma. Now let's study epidermal appendages. So epidermis consists of what? Epidermal tissue tissue system consists of epidermis and epidermal appendages. Epidermis consists of pores in it. Those pores are stomata. Now we studied about the structure of dicot stoma and even monocot stoma. Function of the stoma is transpiration and even gaseous exchange. Now let's start with epidermal appendages. So epidermal appendages are the appendages or outgrowths or extra growths. Outgrowths and extra growths which come out of epidermis, which come out of epidermal tissue. These epidermal appendages are of two types. They are root hairs and stem hairs. Now let's make the comparative study between root hairs and stem hairs. Stem hairs are nothing but trichomes. So let's make the comparative study between epidermal appendages, that is trichomes, also called as root hairs. Root hairs and stem hairs. Stem hairs and root hairs. Root hairs. Right? Okay, so root hairs are epidermal elongations. Let's say this is the epidermis. This is the epidermis of root. Right? Some of the epidermal cells present in the root epidermis shows elongation or they form tubular outgrowths. These are called as root hairs. So what is the function of root hairs? The function of root hairs is to absorb water and minerals from the soil. So they increase the absorption surface of roots. Tubular outgrowths or tubular elongations of epidermal cells. Right? Okay, next coming to trichomes. Here, trichomes are stem hairs. Let's say this is the epidermis of stem, right? And above some of these epidermal cells, extra growths are forming. Extra growths like this. Extra growths. Okay. So these extra growths, not outgrowths. These are not the elongations of epidermal cell of stem. These are the extra growths. Above the epidermal cell, some more cells will be formed, which together forms trichome. Hence, what can we say? Trichomes are extra growths of stem epidermis, not outgrowth, extra growths of stem epidermis. And hence, these trichomes are multicellular, whereas root hairs are unicellular, because these are elongations of epidermal cells only. Hence, these are unicellular. Unicellular. Right? Okay. Now, these trichomes can be either stiff or soft. They can be stiff or they can be soft. But root hairs are always soft. And coming to trichomes. These trichomes are branched. They can be branched or unbranched. Unbranched. Whereas root hairs are always unbranched. These are unbranched. And these trichomes are covered by cuticle, because trichomes are formed in the aerial parts of the plant, that is in the epidermis of stem. So these are covered by cuticle. So these are cuticularized. Trichomes are cuticularized, which are covered by cuticle, whereas these are not covered by cuticle. So non-cuticularized. So what is the function of these trichomes? To reduce the rate of transpiration, to reduce, or to prevent transpiration, that is loss of water. Transpiration, whereas function of root hairs is to absorb water and minerals from soil. To absorb water and minerals. And here we can add one more function of trichomes, that is, some of the trichomes may be secretory in nature. They can be secretory also. Right? So this is about epidermal appendages. So with this we studied about epidermal tissue system. Now in the next video I will be starting with vascular tissue system.